What's up? We're live. Welcome into a little Wednesday edition of the Slate. I was going to call it the everything edition. We got a lot going on, man. Playoff edition. Let's call it that. The big game version of the Slate here on DraftKings. EK Live. Check us out. All the socials, YouTube. We're everywhere. But this edition's kind of cool because, it's not cool because Emerson's not here, but it's the first time Nick Fryer and I are going to be doing a show solo together. That's significant, but it's also cool because we got playoff games. We got a major championship. This is a pretty big Wednesday there, Fryer, my guy. And, we got a lot to cover. So how you feeling, man, right off the bat? I mean, shout out. I should say this. Shout out to our guy, Emerson, who's sick. He's at home. He's dealing with health stuff,
yes.
Prayers, thoughts, everything. But he'll be back. He's strong. Yes. He's an alpha dog, just like Fryer. But how you doing, my man?
I am good. This is still the highest rated edition of the Sweat. I just wanted everybody to know that. As much as we missed Emerson, that doesn't change that in that regard. Just wanted to be clear. But I am good. I'm good. I am ready to talk golf because I got 3 plays today that I want to run by you. Wow. But I cannot. I'm excited to hear a little hockey from you because we had a successful weekend with some hockey stuff. At least I did on the few plays that I did. But obviously a lot of basketball to get to as well. And if we have time, baseball. But I'm not dying to do that today necessarily if we don't have to.
Yeah. In my sketchy, hallucinogenic intro there. I forgot to mention the sports we're going to be covering. We're going to head to the pond first, but let's talk a little bit of hockey. Fryer's got some PGA picks there, so I'm hyped for that. I kind of just want to get right to that. But let's start with hockey. It doesn't start till tomorrow night, but just wanted to run over where the odds are right now. Obviously, 4 teams left: Carolina, Vegas, Dallas, Panthers. Obviously, as you can see, Carolina the favorite there. And I was talking with you, Fryer, about the Panthers kind of being undervalued last round. I'm just looking, where the odds are now. All these teams are super close, and it kind of feels like the market's kind of caught up, and there's no more discount to be had there. I to me, the best team left is Carolina. I don't think that the spread should actually be even this close. So that's kind of where I'm going. Just wanted to throw that out at the top. I do like the Panthers. I do like the Hurricanes. Excuse me. They dominated the Panthers in the last 2 games of the regular season. These 2 teams played. You can certainly look to them on the series line as well, where they're if I can find it, I think they're minus 135 still, yeah. But I like just taking them straight up to win, plus 225. Whoever they're going to play, they should have a pretty solid goaltending advantage. Jake Ottinger's been okay for the Stars. He's a pretty solid goalie. He was up and down. But I do like the Hurricanes there. Game 1, I kind of expect a little bit of a tighter series too, leaning towards the under there. But I just like Carolina in that series. So I want to drop that off the top. I know we were kind of on the Panthers together against Toronto, but if you look at the money line now, you even remember what was the Panthers line in that game 5?
I think it was plus 125 or was it 170?
I think it was bigger than that. I think it was like plus 160, plus 145 maybe.
It was up there.
It was in that range against Toronto.
I texted you because I'm looking and I'm like getting I'm busy thinking about like basketball and baseball stuff, and then I just see it on my radar. I'm like, I know it's they're not supposed to be the better team, and it's late in the series, but this can't be right.
No, exactly right. I think it was even plus 150 or something like that. Anyways, so now the line's it's closer, but I think the Hurricanes are a better team than Toronto. And like I said, I mean they're rested. They beat up on the Panthers the last couple of times they played. So I just don't see that same kind of sort of discrepancy there in this series. And then the other one, I mean, I'll stick to my Dallas call, but I think that series is going to be pretty wide open. Vegas obviously played well. I just don't think Vegas is going to get the same sort of gifts that the Oilers gave them against Dallas. Dallas is just better at tightening up defensively. They've got a better goalies, better at bouncing back. I would take Dallas there, but certainly I expect that to be a back and forth series. So quick recap of hockey there. Let's go.
Before we go to the other stuff, actually, I do have a hockey thing. First of all, I'm very sorry for you and Emerson, and that's the real reason why he's not here today is because his Oilers didn't.
The Oilers almost killed Emerson. Like factually, that's actually what happened.
The timing lines up.
Killed my bankroll, that's for sure.
But I'll tell you what, I was really close to playing Vegas in that last game, and I didn't. And I was like, I can't ask you guys because I know where you guys lean in this.
No, I mean, I said, I went on VSiN on the weekend, and we talked about that game, and I said, if they start Stuart Skinner, the side to bet is Vegas. Absolutely. There's been nothing. He was the worst goalie in the playoffs. His performance in the playoffs was historically bad, and the Oilers just chose to ignore it. Legitimately, it's not going to get talked about because it's the NHL and people just don't care as much. It legitimately, the Oilers starting Stuart Skinner in all 10 playoff games might legitimately be the worst management coaching decision like I have ever seen. A rookie goalie who's never started 50 or more games in the NHL, who's posting historically bad numbers in an era where goalies are like 6'5", have like monster pads and gloves and stuff. And you just choose not to start your backup, who's got like a far more seasoned record and was actually playing well in relief. Just awful.
That's terrible. I don't know anything about hockey, and that just sounds like
it just
idiotic move.
Yeah, so ignoring stats, whatever. Anyways,
that's the series I'm really interested in, because I agree with you. Like, I want to see, before doing anything with Panthers Hurricanes, I need to see what game one, how things kind of shake out, because are the Panthers running out of steam? Are the Leafs did the Leafs just do what they do, and that's why the Panthers advanced after stealing it from Boston? But I'm thinking Stars money line, and then maybe over in that first game after what happened in that last series. But you said you think maybe tighter in that series?
I know. I think tighter in the Florida Carolina series.
Okay.
Is where I would go. Not the Dallas Vegas series. I do like the over. I had a kind of a more day to think about it. The goalies there, you can't trust them. I actually really like the over in that game. But the other one I would actually think more under. The goalies have been far better. I think that the Hurricanes are going to be locked down. He's even looking at the under first period line for that Carolina game. It's at 1.5. You can get plus money on it. So looking to play the under probably in the Carolina one. But yeah, that second one, I'm actually with you. I think Stars is definitely, I think just taking the underdog in the first game is super, super just the way to go. But I definitely like the over.
Okay.
Game one
I might move on those after we're done with the show, then, just to make sure I get those numbers I like.
And I think now is the time to do it, because they'll probably move a little bit as the games get closer. So, all right, man, this is your field. You tell me what's going on tonight. Miami Heat, the 8th seed. The heck are they even doing here? Is this series going to be close? I read on Twitter, someone told me they have the Celtics have like a 97% probability chance. I don't believe that, but it's getting up there, man.
ESPN put that out. I don't know who where they were getting their numbers.
I don't even know where that came from. I just saw some stupid.
Yeah, so I don't know. But before I get into that, I want to just address one thing, because actually we were talking to, obviously we have producer Eamon behind the scenes and AC on the ones and twos. But I was talking to Eamon before, because as we were getting ready for the Nuggets game, the first game of that series, trying to figure out how to approach that game. I actually once that series got locked in and we saw the spread open at 5 points, I sacrificed a little bit of the payout, went to 4.5, just to make sure we get that extra security. By the time he and I had conversed before the game, the spread was up to 6.5. It was fluctuating back and forth between the two. Obviously, he had bet up quite a bit. That game, the Nuggets ended up winning by 6 points. Sometimes you just got to sacrifice juice. I just wanted to throw that out there for people as just an example to why sometimes it's better to bet the number that you like. And when you see it get amplified so much, if there's still value on it afterwards, because at the time it had lost some of the value when I was telling Eamon about it, but it still was there at a pretty decent price. So just something to keep in mind moving forward. Just because you see everybody, you see splits and all the sharps are on it, that's important. But consider the different numbers that you've had beforehand, and those stats are available on DraftKings Sports.
I mean, look, when you're betting alternate lines, really what it comes down to is just, like you said, what are the odds you're getting with it? If you think it's fair, or you have it rated as better than fair odds, then it's still a good line to take. But obviously, a lot of the times with alternate lines, you're not getting the fair lines. That's the one thing they need to be careful of. Don't just bet it down because you're like, oh, I want this, and or this number just feels safer. If you have a reason to do it, absolutely, like Nick said. But anyways, that was wild at the end. I mean, Joker missing the free throw killed obviously a lot. But I mean, a lot of people, I know I talked to people who got it at 6, got a push, but there were people who got it at 5.5. There were people who got it at 7. Like it was all over the place. So
it was
crazy end to the first game. The Lakers just making the run and making it actually exciting was crazy enough. But
and that is why in that next game, I do like the over on the total. And I'm playing the original total that I saw, 225.5. But we want to talk about
225. Yep.
Yeah. But when we look at the Celtics here, so the first game, right? I can't see on my screen as well, Jeff. Is it 8? Is the spread still 8?
It's 8.5.
8.5. Okay, so I mean,
minus 115, 8.5 for Celtics. Yep.
I am staying away from this because I definitely think the Celtics are going to win this series. I don't have doubt in that. The talent is superior. Jason Tatum, like over the past few games, even in the second to last game or the third to last game of the series where he like did nothing. Actually, the couple of games he did nothing in the first half. He still managed to gather himself and step up in the second half in both of those games, and obviously exploded in Game 7. I think he's found his groove right now. I do think the Heat are going to win a couple games. So right now, I don't want to bet I think taking the Celtics on the money line, if you're trying to build a parlay, that might be okay. But from a spread standpoint, if you are so compelled to do so, I would think go with the Heat. I think that would be the safer option tonight because they could very well steal it. Honestly, they could take this game. I don't blame anybody for playing them on the money line.
I mean, look what happened in the first game against Philly. I mean, it's not look, maybe the Celtics are like, okay, we don't want that to happen again, but it does feel like, the game one, like it's kind of like the Heat's Alamo. Like if they can steal game one, they'll have a chance. But if they don't, I mean, like it could go downhill quick. So I agree. Like, I mean, I'm just looking at it. I mean, that is where I would go into game one. Celtics coming off kind of a bit of a longer series, Tatum exploding. There's no, he could easily just have a bit of a lesser shooting night, and this just stays within 8. So that is where I would lean. Like you said, this line was at like 7, was it? 7.
I think it opened at 7.5. Yeah, I'm still too big a number.
I'm surprised it even opened at 7. I would have expected it to open. Feels like this line will get bigger too.
Yeah,
well, it tip offs in like 3 hours, but it's not gonna get that much bigger. But
if they're playing how they can and how they did in that last game, also they got a little help from Joel Embiid kind of getting hurt late there and apparently playing all by himself out on the floor. But as long as they this offense does what it can, and same with the defense, the Heat can't play with them. Like that won't be that, but it's just a matter of them doing that. And again, the Heat, they just don't give up. And so the angle that I really like coming into this game, in watching how the Sixers series kind of played out, what the Celtics were a little bit of beneficiaries of, especially in that last game, is the Sixers were missing a ton of corner three-pointers. And they weren't always going uncontested, but I wouldn't say they were right in guys' grills all the time. Now, I know Joel Embiid's the focus in that series, and obviously Harden, despite him only scoring, 9 points in the last game, still, like, those are the focuses on the defensive end for the Celtics. That said, seeing those quality looks that the Sixers were getting in the corners made me think, okay, to start this series off, I want to see if I can target that with some of the Heat players. So we got Max Strus, we got Duncan Robinson, and we got Caleb Martin as 3 guys that I'm interested in with their 3-pointer props, because looking at their shot chart over the course of the postseason, Duncan Robinson, he kind of mixes it up everywhere. I would say play him as a live bet. Make sure you see him actually get in the game before you back him to score two 3-pointers, because right now it's set at 1.5. We've seen him play, I think, in every game this postseason for the Heat, but just something tells me, like, just be careful on that one because he's coming off the bench. Strus and Caleb Martin get heavy minutes. Strus is at 2.5, minus 115. I like him a lot. Again, going against his old team too, the team that welcomed him in the league. That to me is a little bit appealing as well. There's a little bit of a narrative there. And he will pull up from anywhere too, but he does get quite a bit up in the corner. Caleb Martin, though, if you're only going to play one of these plays, he is plus 170 to go over 1.5 3-pointers tonight. He's done that in 6 of 11 games. And then again, when you look at he is the worst 3-point shooter of this bunch. But again, He's gone over this number 6 of 11 games. And if you look at the minutes that he gets, and then B, you look at his shot chart, he gets a ton of looks in the corners, especially in the postseason. Not as good as the other two, but he's getting enough looks and he's getting the minutes. To me, that is my number one play from tonight's game.
Okay. I like it. I mean, I like the odds, obviously. Those are always appealing, but yeah. No, I mean, hey, the Celtics, if that's something that you're looking at, obviously, then plus 180 is pretty reasonable. So Strus, Robinson, like you said, more of an in-game guy, but okay. So Caleb Martin. Anything else in that game?
Yep. One more for you. Oh, what?
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So we got Jason Tatum. So if you go to the head-to-head player props, Jeff.
Okay.
I haven't played one of these in a while. I think it was in the Sixers Nets series. We got one. What was it? Tobias Harris. That was a ridiculous play. But anyways, Jason Tatum and Bam Adebayo, if you scroll down to the rebounding section to get for their total rebounds, over 19.5 Last I checked, it was at minus 105. I was thinking about going head to head with some of these guys, with him or whether it was Jimmy Butler, but I didn't quite like it with the spreads. And obviously, straight up, it just wasn't, the numbers weren't as appealing. But for these two guys to get 20 plus rebounds, so Jason Tatum hasn't had fewer than 7 rebounds in a playoff game this year. Obviously, not ideal if he only gets 7 tonight, because then Bam's going to do a lot of heavy lifting. Bam has only gone below 8 plus rebounds once in 11 postseason games so far. He's got 9 plus in 5-11 in double digits in 4 of Miami's postseason games. Then you look back at Tatum, 9 plus in 10 of 13, and then double digits in 9 of the Celtics' 13 postseason games. I understand that Miami may try and slow Tatum down on the glass, but I would think more of their efforts are going to be on stopping him on the drive and trying to disrupt him on the offensive end from a three-point shooting standpoint. So he should still be able to get in his work off the glass, which, as he said, is huge for him. And then with Bam Adebayo, he's just tough as nails. And we've seen him step up in both of these series. I know you got 2 bigs that the Celtics are going to be rolling out, but still we've seen some of the opposing bigs get numbers against the Celtics on the glass when they're not clicking on all cylinders. And so guys are going to get rebounds. It's just naturally going to happen. So I really like this number a lot, especially because I think Tatum is going to have another good night on the glass.
Okay. Yeah, Tatum's been rebounding like a beast recently, hasn't he? I mean, up and down from the points, but okay. So over 19.5 for Tatum and Bam Adebayo combined. Yes, obviously, sir. If you're looking on the DraftKings Sports, we can go to head-to-head player props, head-to-head rebounds there. Another one, we went over the 3-pointers. Anything on the total on this one, or is this kind of like?
No, I just need to see. We need to see how this one, the flow of it goes, because it's been weird. I mean, and you look at if what has gone on with the Heat in the first 2 series, like it seems like they're not the ones setting the tone in terms of pace based on the results we got, because as much as we saw overs hitting in that Knicks series, it was still a much more low scoring affair, a lot of rock fights, partially because the Knicks, how their level of talent or whatever. And then in the Bucks series, we saw a lot more high scoring. I know the totals adjusted a little bit for this series, but I just don't feel as confident in that yet. So I'm sticking with props more so tonight.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. I just thought I'd ask. Quickly, tomorrow night. Did you mention you had a line on tomorrow yet? Or did you like the over? Is that right?
The over is the play that I like a lot. Yeah.
Right. I mean, yes. Okay.
You're looking at some of the trends with these 2 teams. Like I just don't have them. I have them jotted down somewhere, but I don't know exactly. Actually, give me 1 second. I have them.
It doesn't matter.
Well, there's 2. So actually, okay. So the over is 4-2 in the Lakers road games this postseason, and then the over is 5-3 in the Nuggets last 8 postseason games. So, I mean, and looking at what happened in that last one too, I still expect the Nuggets to set the tone. I still think they're going to win, but I don't feel as confident because of the comeback that the Lakers mounted in that one. Right. More importantly, both those teams scored 125 plus points. Like that's what the Lakers are kind of going to have to do to keep up with Jokic.
And I mean, like, look, the Nuggets were ahead, but clearly, like, not closing the Lakers out at all. So feels like you can almost get a higher scoring game in game 2 is kind of the vibe I was getting from that series as well. So it seems like a pretty reasonable number, to be honest. It's obviously gone up a little bit too. So people are thinking the same thing. Wouldn't be shocked to see that get closer to 2:30 by game time. All right. We got about 10 plus 12 minutes left, maybe. Should we go to golf?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
So obviously PGA starts tomorrow. These odds have shifted a ton during the week. Rory McIlroy now up to plus 1,600. I don't even know where he started the week. I think he was at plus 1,000. So market clearly out on Rory, but then you've got guys like Cantlay and Schauffele who are just getting bet down immensely. They're up plus 1,600. They started the week around plus 2,000, plus 2,200 actually. A couple other names of interest. Koepka plus 22, Day at plus 2,800. Who came out today, by the way, Jason Day, and said he hasn't practiced all week because he's tired from last week. So take that with a grain of salt, whatever that means. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not too worried about it. We can get into that in a sec. But give me your dudes. Let's go. Fade Fryer segment. It's not even Fade Fryer. That's just what we say. It's factual Fryer.
Wow, you're way too nice when that. No, when Kaufman's here is when you're mean. When Emerson's not here at all and no one else is here, you're too nice. That's what it is. Okay, got it. I'm just trying to figure it out. So, but Brooks Koepka, you brought him up. And looking at what happened at the Masters, I was like, okay, I don't trust him to finish this off and necessarily win this event as much as he has won it in the past.
Right.
But I know recent form is something that you cited in your cheat sheet over on DK Nation. So he did well in the last tournament that he played in, which I think it was last week. But either way, the first round markets are kind of what I was interested in with Brooks Koepka. So top American after round one, he is plus 2,000, a little riskier, but top 10 overall after round one, he's plus 350. So this guy who's done well in this tournament before, has won it before, sixth in his last tournament, which is an important number. And he played in the last tournament that he could have played in. Again, another thing that you cited on your cheat sheet. So, I mean, to me, like I really like the top 10 overall play more so than the top American.
Okay, so top 10 after round one, you're talking, right?
Yes, a plus 350 there.
Yeah, plus 350. I mean, look, it's very reasonable. Brooks Koepka in major championships. Look, he led this event in 2019 after round one. Like he's not unfamiliar with leading majors after one round or just coming out and playing well at the start. So I actually kind of like that. From a top 10 perspective too. I mean, you look at this, we have the quality tends to rise to the top. I'd throw Dustin Johnson out there, plus 360 as another name to kind of look at in this market. Same kind of thing. He obviously won last week as well, but won't shock me if one or both of those guys are playing really well after round one. Joaquin Niemann is another live guy, plus 600 for a top 10. I don't hate. And then Gary Woodland, since we're on this market, plus 700 for a top 10. So, I mean, these are supreme ball strikers. They're not going to be, too overdone by the length of the course. And in Brooks Koepka's case, just so used to performing well in majors. So, yeah, I think that's interesting. I mean, again, if you're looking for a little bit of exposure tomorrow, a little bit of a sweat, and you don't necessarily want to go and take the high variance that comes with leading after round one, perfectly reasonable to target that top 10 market. So I like that. And I kind of like I said, I threw a couple of other names in there, but I like the call with Koepka, who what he does, man. And he's playing well. And he's played well since the Masters too. That's the thing. It wasn't just the Masters. He's followed that up playing every week well on live. So
there we go.
All right. What else you got, man?
Well, so again, I looked at your cheat sheet, and I don't want to look at the players that you're picking out because I want to be talking about different guys. I don't want to be, come across like I'm tailing Jeff as much as you accused me of that a little while back. That said, when I looked at the information that you were putting out there, especially talking about recent form and everything, I was like, okay, well, Xander Schauffele makes a lot of sense. And then I went back to check to see if you highlighted him as one of your picks. Lo and behold, he was one of your picks. And I was like, well, this isn't going to go over well. But I do like him either to win straight up, so that's plus 1,800, or top 20. I don't want to do top 5 or top 10, messing around with him too much. The reason being, I'm sure you know this already, but top 20 in 3 of the last 4 PGA championships, obviously missed the cut in 2021.
Yeah, no, look, Schauffele his major championship record is redonkulous. He hasn't won, but like the top 10 rate for these majors for Xander is out of this world. It actually makes the minus 115 number look like really, really solid. Just compare. I mean, again, the next he could biff on the next 10 majors or something. Who knows? Sure. But his record certainly suggests that's not going to be the case. His record this year suggests that's not going to be the case either. You found Xander because he makes a lot of sense. He's really, really good tee to green. He's been beast moding at ball striking lately, and he's a high end putter who can really light it up on bent grass. So I liked him for a lot of the same reasons. He's just a player who's overdue for major championship. Again, I talked about this, if we're resetting the odds today, there are better values out there than Xander. Absolutely. We'll go down a little bit and talk about them. But this is a player who is if you're looking up top, he's done way more in majors than Cantlay has. I don't even know if Cantlay has a top 5.
I'll never understand the love for Cantlay. Even before we were doing this video, whenever I'd be editing something why does everybody love Cantlay?
It's the idea that best player without a major, and he does have a lot of big wins. It's just, his major championship record isn't as good as Xander's. So I mean, in a lot of ways, these two guys are linked for that reason. But I personally would side with Xander, especially now that there's actually a little bit of difference in their number. But like I said, if you think that this is the player, and Xander's shown it, top fives in each of his last two starts. I mean, T10 at the Masters, that's enough for me to say, just jump on him. I mean, if the player's ready, he's ready. Xander certainly looks ready to me. So yeah, obviously, as you said, I mean, I wrote him up early this week for a reason. It just makes too much sense to ignore. And I think that's fine to bet a player like that. Even if the odds have gone down to a place where he's certainly not the juiciest value anymore in the outright market.
Yeah, but it was weird when I was looking at it. It's like, okay, well, either he's going to break through and pull it off here, or he's going to do what he's done, and that's finish in the top 20. And that's why minus 115, obviously, when we're talking golf, it's not like the greatest value.
For sure.
It's like,
I mean, to that point, because I don't mind that bet either. If I was going with those odds, I would probably say, instead of taking Xander top 20, I would either take Niemann or Ricky Fowler top 40. Niemann's made the cut in each of his last 9 majors, I think 9 or 10. Fowler has finished T12 or better at the PGA in 4 of his last 9 starts. He's playing both these guys are playing well. Niemann was T16 at the Masters. I think one or both could easily top 20, but with the top 40, you're getting basically the same number, a little bit more cushion. But again, it's the same idea as the Xander play top 20, right?
Yeah.
It's just that again, I think that Niemann and Xander, like there's a gap. Xander's a better player, but also I think Niemann is kind of close to him as well. That I don't think that he should be getting 20 spots for the same number, like to finish top 40. So Niemann top 40, I'd probably prefer that rather than playing Xander top 20, but it's the same kind of deal, and really both those bets make sense. So
I love the logic on the Niemann one, though. I gotta say, like, Fowler makes sense too. Don't get me wrong, but I really like that Niemann play a lot.
Yeah, I would probably, and again, I know I brought up Ricky and Niemann. I would probably lean Niemann. He's a supreme talent. He is really, really talented. It's a shame he went to live and we don't get to see him as often, but I think the setup this week is really going to be good for him. All right, man. You said you had 3 plays, so.
Last one. This is definitely a top 10 play. We've talked about him before on here and there. Tyrrell Hatton.
Come back to your guy. Okay.
Yep. You got to go back to him.
You got to have your guys in golf betting, as you know, Nick. You have to have your core, your group, your wingmen.
He's coming in with great form. Like, shame on me for not backing him last week after him doing well the week before. And we're at a tournament where he's got 2 top 10 finishes and a top 13 or a T13. So I mean, plus 330 in the top 10 market. That's where I'm playing him.
Okay. Look, I like that you went back in this range too, because this is the range of player where, again, if you're looking at the odds like just today, you want to get in some late bets. You really just like, where's the kind of juiciest middle of guys where maybe I can take advantage of this? Hatton, Homa, probably Hideki. Those are the names I would be throwing out there. I mean, I think Dustin Johnson at plus 3,000 still also belongs in that conversation. Like I said, I don't hate the plus 2,800 on Jason Day, but he did come out and say, give some, I wouldn't even call it a negative update, just an update that suggests, like there could be a little bit more variance in his game because he's not been practicing just because of rest. It's nothing injury or anything. He just was like, I better suited to resting than practice, which makes sense. I'd rather have my guy rested than practice once. I mean, a lot of times you see players come in, they practice all week, and then they poop the proverbial bed in round 1. So I don't even mind the fact Jason Day is resting. It's just news, and you got to react to the news. That's all we can do. But Hatton in this range is perfectly fine. I think I'd prefer him over Hovland right now. It's really close between him and Sungjae for me. I would probably say that Homa at this point would be my favorite player to target at plus 3,500. But again, Cameron Smith, you could take two or three players in this range and just call it a day. You could take Hatton, Homa, and like Im, or Hatton, Homa, and like Cam Smith. These are really solid plays. These are pretty solid numbers. Like guys who, Homa was like plus 2,500 at one point. If Hatton had won the Wells Fargo, he'd probably be plus 2,500. Like it's pretty solid numbers. So plus 330 for the top 10. Definitely don't hate that at all. Again, I would probably side with Homa, but it's certainly I don't have anything really negative to say about Hatton.
I got a quick question for you. Maybe it's a quick question. So you're bringing up the day stuff, and I know you liked him a lot coming this week, and obviously he's done well recently. But I couldn't help but think, I'm curious what the missed cut market looks like. I know he's at plus 300.
Right. Let's look it up.
What about, like, is there a guy in here that you would consider playing? Because, like, I see that I'm like, maybe based on what's going on. Is I know you like him a lot, but that just makes me think about it. Tommy Fleetwood. I don't know if it was you that talked about him today or someone else on the sweat. But he's plus 170, and obviously he disappoints all the time.
Fleetwood's got a pretty good record in majors. He certainly is, not incapable of missing the cut. I mean, I actually think the day to miss it's funny because as much as I like Day, like I said, I think that we're getting into a situation where there's two things that could happen with Jason Day. A, he rests and he comes out and he feels more rested on Thursday tomorrow. And he's like, you know what? Like, I don't need to see this course. I'm playing great. My swing is great. I'm rested. And he shoots 5 under. But the other scenario is he is tired. And he just doesn't have it. And if he doesn't have it, he's not going to want to grind out there. That's fine. Like, so I think he's a high variant. I think he's a higher variance play right now because of the news that we're getting, but I don't think that he's out without upside. So I actually don't hate the idea of betting him to miss the cut, which is obviously sounds like double speak because I do like him, but I just think that the scenarios now and the gap between what he's going to do is wider. Like if you're asking me who the safer play is, who's got the better floor for DFS, because both Dustin Johnson and Jason Day are basically the same price. Dustin Johnson to me is far safer right now, but I think they both have the very similar upside. I think they could both win the tournament. So that's kind of where I'm at with these guys. Anyways, okay. I like it. That's a good way to end. Jason Day is certainly going to be an interesting character. We got to go. Man, coming up, folks. Denver, Russell Wilson. Wow. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. How can you miss this, folks? Starting in a couple minutes. The slate will be back tomorrow, same time, around 5 p.m. Eastern. We got the sweat coming up every day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there. DK Live on Twitter. Follow him at Nick Fryer. You can follow me at the Fantasy Grind. Have a great PGA Championship, folks, and let's hope Jason Day shows up.